What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I want to give you guys the latest Ego rumor mill, and it's that Saul Canelo Alvarez is looking for his voluntary defense, and the leading top candidates at the moment are Gabe Rosado of Philly and none other than Willie Monroe Jr. So basically, two guys that Triple G fought and stopped and beat. So in the world of boxing, what fans call it, leftovers, Triple G leftovers. Now, I want to spend some time talking about this particular fight. Now, on my channel, I stress this, check for consistency. And this is very easy for me to see. Now, I've been very consistent on my channel. And one thing I told you guys, go to my Instagram. This is before this announcement. And I told you are going to try to make a Gabe Rosado versus Canelo fight, right? And I just seen it. I told people, I made a video and I said it. I said they're probably hoping Clottey loses, which he did lose to Gabe Rosado, because they would prefer Rosado. Because Canelo is actually supposed to face Josh Clottey at one point in December, and he ended up pulling out because of alleged ankle injury, and then they never rescheduled the fight. So now that Clottey lost to Gabe Rosado, he's one of the candidates along with Willie Monroe. Now, this is my thing. One, whoever he faces, if he is really serious about fighting Triple G, like I've said before, I will state it in case you missed that video, he should fight either of these guys at the full 160. Because it doesn't make sense for you to take on the guy who's perceived, the guy who is the best middleweight at the moment, you know what I'm saying? In the number one slot. It doesn't make sense to fight Rosado at 157, 158, Willie Monroe at 157, 158. The goal is to fight Golovkin in the fall. That's what they're saying. And they're supposed to renegotiate, and boxing fans are supposed to cross their fingers that this is going to happen. So if that's the goal, I don't see anything else would be uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to fight at a catchweight like you have been doing. At least when Cotto fought Sergio Martinez, it was a catchweight, but it was only 1 pound. It was 159 instead of the full 160. And then later he dropped it, like when he fought Daniel Gill at 157. I told you guys I'm not big on catch weights. As far as the fights, it is what it is. I mean, I would prefer, if you're going to take a Triple G leftovers and somebody who's off of a loss. Well, Gabe Rosado's the only one not off a loss, but he has he has 9 losses on his record total, and 7 of them are in a short period of time. I think he had 7 losses without a win, something like that. One got changed to a no contest in the Jay Leon Love fight. But anyway, if you're going to fight a Triple G leftover, I would prefer Canelo versus David Lemieux, because Canelo is not as long, no homo, as Triple G. So I don't know if he has and I don't think he has a jab like Triple G, right? And arguably Triple G hits harder. I don't know. I've never been punched by both. But you can't compare Triple G's performance over Lemieux versus Canelo, because they're two different fighters, two different builds and things like that. And really, Triple G controlled Lemieux with the jab. And I don't see Canelo jab consistently like Triple G was, you know what I'm saying, throughout a whole 12-round fight, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I would rather, if you're going to fight somebody, why not fight David Lemieux? That's a dangerous fight. But then again, he's a Golden Boy fighter alongside the cash cow at Golden Boy, which is Canelo. And it's funny because Oscar always finds a way to navigate to the name of Floyd Mayweather and bring up Floyd, how his fights are going to be the best, most competitive fights, and Floyd Mayweather, none of that boring dancing, running stuff, and they're all about the best fighting the best. So can you truly say that Canelo, if he is to face Gabe Rosado or Willie Monroe, can we truly say that's the best fighting the best? You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny how De La Hoya always works that into his narrative, but he does just like anybody else. They make the fights that they find to be the most beneficial at that given moment. You know what I mean? Because Rosado, like I said, he has 9 losses. He's a cool dude, follows me on Instagram. I have no problem with the guy. But, I mean, that's a fact. He went over to BKB, had a draw with Curtis Stevens. He was a champion. He knocked out Brian Vera, but that doesn't count on your boxing record either. So, and then Willie Monroe, it's a guy, lost to Darnell Boone, lost to Golovkin, beat Brian Vera. You know what I mean? So basically, Rosado and Willie Monroe, one mutual opponent they have in common is Brian Vera, and that's their last major win, unless you want to call. Oh, I guess Rosado just beat Clottey, but before that, it was Brian Vera. You know what I'm saying? And I never looked at Brian Vera as the top of the totem pole, if you will, in terms of fighters. So I just don't think it's the best possible build up, and that's the thing. The WBC, the way they worded it, they said that Golovkin, as long as Canelo or alongside Canelo, they were going to face voluntary defenses in order to build up a Canelo versus Triple G fight. And like I said, check for consistency. When I first heard this news and I reported about it, I told you guys, the best build-up is now. Triple G just unified with David Lemieux, and he took his IBF strap, right? In a dominant fashion. He won every single round and then knocked him down, then stopped David Lemieux, a guy who at least had a threatening puncher's chance because he has a high knockout percentage, right? Golovkin was coming off of that. And then Canelo beat a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, and Miguel Cotto. He looked good out there, good defense. He landed the harder, more impactful shots. And he beat a legend in Miguel Cotto and became the lineal middleweight champion. So you mean to tell me, I don't know who Triple G is going to fight, but you mean to tell me Canelo beating a Willie Monroe or Gabe Rosado is going to build it up more than him beating a guy who was a champion in Miguel Cotto and a respected legend with a deep resume? You know what I'm saying? Triple G, I don't know who he's going to fight, but if he fights Billy Joe Saunders, maybe a Toriano Johnson, is that going to be far better for a build-up than him punishing a David Lemieux, a guy who was a champion as well? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Like I said, check for consistency. They said the whole point of this whole voluntary defense was to help build up Canelo versus Triple G. And in my opinion, those fights don't really help build it up because, again, if Canelo beats Rosado, which is not a given, Rosado has 9 losses, so that'll be a 10th loss. And in this world of boxing, today's fans, that's what they look at. They look at things like records and how many losses. Even though it's unfair, Rosado learned on the job, and you know what I'm saying? And he has heart and he scraps. But that's on his record. I can't change that. You know what I mean? Willie Monroe, his biggest fights he lost, except for Brian Vera. He lost to Triple G, he lost to Boone. You know what I mean? So is that really truthfully going to build up Canelo versus Triple G? Okay, so let's say hypothetically, and I don't even know if Canelo would do this, but hypothetically, he stops Rosado. Rosado's been stopped by Peter Quillen. He's been stopped by Triple G. He's been stopped by Lemieux, etc. You know what I mean? At least Lemieux has only been stopped by 2 premier punchers, Marco Antonio Rubio at the time, and then Triple G. You know what I mean? He lost to Joachim Alcine, but it's still, in terms of stylistic fights, I think it's a good scrap, and I want to see how, like, to me, that would better prepare you for Triple G. We know Triple G can punch. Lemieux just doesn't have the same technique as Triple G, but I don't think Rosado, he's kind of physically strong, but he's not the biggest puncher. He got decent pop, you know what I mean? You're not going to chump him, but if you're trying to prepare for this guy with this, like, monstrous power like Triple G, I think David Lemieux would be, if you can beat him, if you're trying to do a barometer, that would be a better test for you. Because if you can't take David Lemieux's power, then you'll certainly lose to Triple G because they have, at best, the same type of power, but Triple G delivers it far better. So again, if you can't beat a David Lemieux, then to me, you don't have a chance to beat Triple G because he's taller, has a more decorated amateur background, 300, 400 fights, whatever it is, Olympic silver medal. He showed a jab, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But it's funny how Golden Boy keeps pushing the narrative that it's the best fight the best. You got 2 of the best possible matches under your roster with Lemieux and Canelo, but you don't want to sacrifice them. You want to put them in separate fights. We already know what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.